You have found Life in the 1900s newspapers, where I read the actual printed words from vintage newspapers. Today, we're in the roaring 20s with a new newspaper, The State, from Columbia, South Carolina, dated March 1st, 1928. If you're new to my channel, you might not know that I pick the unusual stories in the newspapers instead of the politics and ordinary history, so I hope you enjoy. Let's start with this one. Say It with Dynamite, Columbia, North Carolina, February 29, 1928. Blame for a dynamite explosion tearing a hole in the floor of a room where Mrs. Lena Snell Johnson, a widow of Columbia, and Miss May Sawyer, a friend, were sleeping, and hurling the two women from the bed today was charged to J.S. Pope, described as a rejected suitor of Mrs. Johnson. Will Rogers, special to the State newspaper, Memphis, Tennessee, February 29th. Right here in Memphis today, over 25 policemen went to a hospital and volunteered to give blood transfusions to a kid that was near death. I know that I am out of order in speaking of the good things that cops do, but I am one of the old-fashioned people who believe that if somebody pounced upon me, I could holler for one and he would come and help me out without having me to pay him anything. The poor fellows can't catch many criminals, as our towns have them too busy marking cars that have been parked too long. Yours, Will Rogers. Kitty McKay. The girlfriend says her husband put up such a roar at breakfast this morning, she knew it was the 1st of March, coming in like a lion as usual. Acrobat arranges to show skill. Billy Stone, daredevil acrobat with the Kewpie Chandler's Be Happy review, will perform several difficult and daring acrobatic feats on top of the Rivoli Theater building this afternoon at 3 o'clock, according to an announcement of H.W. Wayland, manager of the Rivoli. The exhibit will be free. Perched on the high parapet of the Rivoli building, the acrobat will present a series of hand-balancing feats that are described as unusually thrilling. A small table will also be used at the exhibition, with the acrobat performing numerous difficult and dangerous feats of balancing. Boils and carbuncles go quickly. Instant Comfort with Carboil contains special ingredients that quickly draw out core. Carboil prevents spread, saves lancing. Get today from druggist. Columbia Theater, today, Friday and Saturday. First time ever shown in any theater in the South. Coming direct from California to the Columbia Theater. It's truly a first-run picture. Should you miss this picture, you lose, not the management. Prices: day 25 cents, night 30 cents, children 10 cents. Balcony for colored people, Jervis Street entrance. Greatest comedy novelty of all time. Burnt cork comedians in the trenches. Warner Brothers presents Ham and Eggs at the Front with Tom Wilson, Heine Coughlin, and Myrna Loy, based on the story by Daryl Francis Zanuck. J.L. Mimnaugh and Company, today a marvelous value. 800 charming new silk dresses, $5. Price absurdly low for their superior qualities and newness of styles. Submit new yells. At a meeting of Chi Circle Omicron Delta Kappa at the University of South Carolina, the need of a new and peppier yells and songs was discussed, and it was decided to run a contest among the students to stimulate interest and to obtain new yells and songs. The old yells and songs used at athletic contests have become old and worn, and the necessity for getting new ones is one of the real problems toward increasing school spirit. Each contestant is limited to 3 yells and 3 songs. This contest is open to all students and The Gumps, a bird in the hand.
Listen to this. Men wanted to accept a position that is easy, pleasant, and dignified. No previous experience necessary. Choose your own working hours, liberal remuneration, and ideal working conditions.
What?
Here's another one. Would a salary of $10,000 a year appeal to you? Do you want to be your own boss? One agent made $27.50 in 2 hours selling our rubber can openers.
Those jobs all offer too much for too little. I've stopped believing in Santa Claus. Look for an ad where they want a big, two-fisted guy to act as understudy for a horse, where the work is hard, the hours are long, and the pay is small, but you get it. Wonder what an old gold cigarette thinks about? Well, I'm mighty glad to get out of that package. It was terribly crowded in there. I like to see the flare of the match. It makes me feel as though I were of some use in the world. I'm going to give this fellow a thrill on his first puff. He seems to be getting a lot of kick out of me. He sure is dragging deep and often. Well, I'll show him I'm a square shooter by not tickling his throat. Lots of cigarettes take a fiendish delight in making men cough, but I'm above all that. Maybe in a martyr like Joan of Arc and being burned alive. But someday they may erect a monument to me as the cigarette that took the cough out of smoking. Old gold, the smoother the better cigarette, not a cough in a carload.
all I ever knew all day long. Ooh, I never would get through. Jazz, jazz, that's all I wanna do. Play me a little jazz, 'cause I'm a jazz baby. Wanna be jazzing all the time. There's something in the tone of a saxophone that makes me do a little wiggle on my own, 'cause I'm a jazz baby. Full of jazz harmony. You know that walk the dog and ball the jack that calls all the talk. Folks, that's just a copy of the way I naturally walk, 'cause I'm a jazz